Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And we here at Anime Out of Context would like to wholeheartedly...
No, Rem! You can't do that! Oh fuck, I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington. It'll be fascinating. There are a few worlds out there where Dylan decides that can't be heard, that can be aired out to the world, and so if there was an abrupt cut. I guess I can't give context to why it was cut. It was a conditional cutting, all right? Who knows if it's cut or not? And if it was, I can't explain why. I guess if we just say, instead of like the podcast, Shaun Rollins.
No! God, please be a good person. Please, I'm begging. Please let them be interested in playing Undertale at the least.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be interested in playing under your tail, Shaun.
Oh, fuck me running. Okay, Remington, we're here to talk about anime.
Well, that's way less fun. That's way less fun than getting us in trouble about things we don't know about
getting
yet.
us fucking blacklisted.
Wait, by showing our support? Especially your support? Like...
God almighty. Okay, Rem, you already know what we're doing this week.
Oh, man, what the... Do I?
Oh, we talked about it last week, didn't we, Rem?
Yeah. Look, Shaun.
Yeah, what's up, Rem?
You're trying to punish me because you're in love. And I think that's unfair.
Why would I be punishing you if I was in love? Why? How do those two things correlate?
Well, I think it's probably just negligence.
Negligence?
Yeah, well, what I think is going on, right? You're distracted by love. Certainly, hey, you have your hands full. Ain't that the truth? All right.
Oh my Christ.
Judy, Pope, sometimes even Dylan. Like it's a lot on your plate, and I understand that. And so instead of putting in the time, putting in the labor to find what would make a fun, creative episode that's fun for the whole family, it seems like instead you're defaulting to familiar patterns that you can just slot in nice and easy to hurt me.
Just to hurt you. Certainly not because, people care about comparison points.
Shaun, I'm gonna pull up the fucking transcript. I swear to God.
I know for a fact you don't have the transcript.
I will make one.
You will make one? You'll quickly listen to the part 2 that we just recorded, mid-recording, and read verbatim the transcript.
I can do it in time for part 2 of this episode.
Man, you really, really don't want to see the original Ranma, do you?
Dude, there's no point to it. There's no purpose. Look, Shaun, it's not even just for me. It's for our listeners, all right? I want them to have high-quality content. That's what I want.
Oh, so it's about them, not you, not your selfish desires. You're thinking purely on their behalf, right?
Voice of the people, baby.
The voice of the people who has been denounced by the people on several occasions this past year.
Well, here's the thing. That's why I'm the voice of the people. Sometimes the people don't know either what they want or how to articulate what they want. So sometimes they say the wrong thing. They don't say what they mean, all right? They don't say what they actually feel, which is why I'm here to clear it up when that happens.
My God, Jesus, you're starting to sound like the new Pope.
How many jokes about the new Pope can we make without knowing who they are?
I think all of them, and then retroactively will get canceled. It's fine. People will not check the date of when this goes up, or they will and be like, wow, they recorded this and then the Pope got announced same day. That's impressive.
Well, no, they'll be like, oh man, yeah, that's the time that there was a Pope for one day and then he also died.
Oh god, the fact that you put that into the universe is insane.
if that happens now, I'm on a list. Like if
like for somebody who's done nothing but like history and religious studies, oof.
Which is crazy because like if that were to hypothetically happen, I had nothing to do with it. Look at Shaun.
Please don't incriminate me in the death of a pope that hasn't been selected or died yet.
Look, a day is all Shaun needs when he's been all corked up.
I'm sorry. Am I a dropped 2-liter? Oh, God. Well, Remington, I, for one, think the idea of a comparison point would be hilarious and a great episode. However, I never planned on doing that in the first place. I just wanted to freak you out a bit.
Oh, thank God. All right, then what the fuck are we actually doing?
I mean, we could come back and do it if people want it. Because I still think it could make an episode, especially with how much you hate it.
I'm gonna bring the transcript. I just want it to be so clear so that when it happens and people like listen to the part 2 and then they listen to 1 minute into the part 2 because they're like, that's a funny bit. I can't believe he went through with it. And then nobody listens past that. 0 people.
Oh, God. I mean, hey, you're the one who says that people don't know what they want. They're gonna want that.
They don't. Some of them will think they do. They don't. Once again, they want the idea of it, right? They want it to have happened. They don't want to experience it. They just want it to be a thing that has existed once upon a time.
Oh, God. So you're saying it's like the Endless 8, which you don't have a frame of reference for, but the weebs will.
Fucking weeb shit.
That's okay. But no, Rem. Today I wanted something nice for myself, I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
And also something that was heavily requested for a revisit. Not doing the wheel this time because I wanted to purposefully choose this time, believe it or not.
I mean, hey, look, I would like to remind everyone, he purposefully chose last time, all right? He put his finger
nothing of the sort.
On the scales.
Okay, all right. Tell you what, Rem, right now, next time I do the wheel, I'll give you the same thing. I'll give you 1 respin. And watch. I guarantee if it doesn't land on one of the 3 things you want, you will respin.
Look, there's no way to tell till it happens. No way to tell until we're there.
What is it they say about history, Rem?
One of a kind, baby.
Yeah, no, certainly, it never will happen again.
Yeah.
Surely not.
Every moment is special and unrepeatable, all right?
So no need to worry about looking back on the past.
No need to look at the past because that's over and done with and will never happen again.
Which is a weird thing to say in a revisit episode.
All right. Let's rip off this Band-Aid. What the fuck are we revisiting?
Well, Rem, God, you're so negative. Why can't you believe I would choose to revisit that ultimately is meant to be an enjoyable experience for everybody involved? You, me, the audience, Dylan.
I want it on the record, all right? You see the psychological antagonism and hostility where he starts implying more fucking Ranma, blah, blah, blah. Let's go to the classic. You see him pull that shit, and then he has the gall to turn it on me, being like, how dare you think I would do something bad to you after having just spent half of part 1 implying he would do something bad to me. You see that? I hate to throw these words around. That's toxic behavior, ladies and gentlemen. It really is.
Oh, you're calling me toxic, Rem.
This might be one of the most combative part 1s we've ever had.
I think it's funny for it, especially considering that this episode, Rem, is all about the opposite of that, because this week, Rem, we're revisiting one of my favorites, Spy Family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It could be a whole lot worse.
Genuinely, Rem, I'm trying to do something nice. Quite literally, this is one of those shows that we watched back when it first aired, and you said lots of positive things about it. Like, you had your nitpicks and your gripes here and there, but that's because you are who you are. But overall, you watched 5 whole episodes of it and came out of it pretty happy, all things considered.
Yeah, I feel like I think I thought it was good.
Yeah, and you only saw the first 5 episodes, which was quite literally character setup and getting Anya into the school. That's all that happened.
Yeah.
So really, Rem, Rem, now you're actually going to have a chance to get into the meat of the show and see what little antics our favorite little mind-reading gremlin gets up to at her fancy preppy rich school for rich fucks.
Have I gotten to the point where she does mind reading?
Dog, episode 1.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's only been 3 years, my friend.
Well, no, look, I knew that I knew she could do that, but I didn't know if I was, like, supposed to know. Because I couldn't remember it ever being relevant. You know how much anime is force-fed into my brain every fucking year?
Yeah, Rem, but literally, Rem, the first...
And I want to emphasize, it's not like I'm being handed all this anime and I'm like holding on tight and being like, oh, how do I keep a hold of it all? Like, it's being handed off to me and then I don't even try to hold on to it. It just falls to the ground. And that's how every anime... He goes. So everything. So I'm like surrounded by some anime, and I'm like, oh, from what I can see here, here are my memories. But anything that gets buried or like rolls away, that's gone. That's disappeared.
Rem. Rem, literally the first thing we learn about Anya is being told straight to our face that she is a telepath.
Well, I mean, sure. I don't remember any order of operations. I just vaguely recollect bits and pieces. They're out of order, right? There's no sense to them. There's just the most amorphous of connecting threads.
For a manga perspective, she reads a mind literally the first page she's on. And we get the announcement from like the overarching narrator 3 pages later that this girl is fully a telepath, even though by this point you figure that out.
Hey, man.
And literally, the premise of the show is a spy, an assassin, and a young telepath form a fake family for the good of saving a country.
Well, once again, I remembered that she's a little fucking psychic, right? I remembered that. I just didn't know. I couldn't remember if I was supposed to remember that.
Oh my god. I can't breathe.
As far as I'm concerned, I am innocent.
Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh, okay then, Rem. I didn't think this would be super necessary. But what do you actually remember from Spy Family?
All right. Well, so you got a spy, and it's like you got to have a fake family so that you can blah 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 whatever.
Okay, so what do you remember that I didn't just barely tell you?
I remember that there was a game or a race or some crazy shit like that I want to say that Yor did in episode 4 or 5, and yeah, there was some spectacle to it.
Okay.
I also remember that one time when I was streaming an anime rumble on Twitch, that Lloyd showed up and he got eliminated. So then he impersonated his own fake daughter to show up and almost win, but then he got eliminated again.
God, that was a funny fucking stream.
It was a good one. That was a good one. So if you have questions about the anime rumble, I can answer those, Shaun. I can happily answer those. I can.
How good? Okay, then how good did Yor do in the women's one?
Not super notable. But that's largely because Rem and Ram went on an absolute tear. Like, just went fucking crazy. I think between those two, they had double-digit eliminations. Though of course the winner would end up being being Renamon. So it was Rem, Ram, and Renamon that just dominated the women's rumble.
Did we ever upload those VODs, or are they lost to the ether?
I genuinely can't remember. I don't know.
If that's a real damn shame if that's the case. We might have to do another one and actually remember to save it this time. But we're not here to talk about the Rumble. All right. Okay, Rem. So I will give you the most straightforward summary that I can, because I kind of already did, but pretty straightforward. Show's about our three main characters, Lloyd Forger, Yor Forger, and Anya Forger. Anya is a lovely little tyke who is a telepath and reads minds, gets adopted by Lloyd because he is a spy for the neighboring country and is doing everything in his power to maintain peace and protect the current world order, because currently the two countries, Ostania and Westalis, are in the midst of a very heavy Cold War. And there is a fellow who is threatening to undermine all that and potentially plunge the world back into a massive war again. And in order to prevent that from happening, Lloyd Forger's mission, his code name is Twilight, obviously. So people keep calling him Twilight throughout, but his spy name is Twilight, I should say. The 007, Twilight, there you go. And his adoptive identity of Lloyd Forger to protect the world and get as close as he can to this influential figure to hopefully stop him from plunging the world into another massive conflict. And to do that, he has to make a fake family. So he adopts lovely little Anya, and he marries Yor Forger, who, unbeknownst to him, is an assassin for a very powerful underground assassin group called the Garden. And she makes ends meet working in town hall while also horrifically murdering people at the request of this group.
So it's really, he has like a sort of 4-point plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got to protect the world, right? From devastation. He wants to unite all peoples within their nation.
Oh, I see.
He wants to announce the evils of truth and love. He wants to extend their reach to the stars above. That's what I'm getting from that summary.
I mean, it's not wrong. The plan largely involves enrolling Anya into a fancy school for rich people because the bad dude in question, his kids go to that school, and use Anya to hopefully have Anya be a stellar student, like truly the peak of the peak, so that they can eventually get as close as they can to this evil, evil man. And, the only problem with that is Anya, God bless Anya, she can read minds, which is great. She is also basically a baby, though.
Yeah.
She's not, like, for her age, incredibly smart. Literally, the first thing she does is lie about her age to Lloyd so that she can be adopted. So she's going into the school basically a year early.
Really, like it's like, sure, in her position you'd expect her to be even less smart, less competent, but she's extremely smart considering the circumstances. Like, I would almost compare it to like a talking cat of sorts.
I mean, Anya and talking cats have a lot in common, as it turns out.
Anya's the Meowth of the team.
I hate how that kind of works. Because Anya is the only one who knows the true status of both of her parents.
See, it all adds up. We have our Jesse, we have our James, we have our Meowth. Now we just need like a Wobbuffet and we're set.
Man, I wish I could show you more episodes than I'm already showing you, because they do get a fourth member of their family eventually.
Do they fit as a Wobbuffet?
I mean,
that's where they're getting slotted in, so I hope they do.
They're big, round, and don't speak.
I mean, look, Wobbuffet speaks sometimes, but it's just the word Wobbuffet. I'll take it.
Oh, goodness. Well, hey, look, man, people, I will say, one of the biggest requests for a revisit of this was to get you to the point where you could meet the fourth member of the Forger family, but I don't want to overload you with anime, so I'm only showing you to the episode right before he shows up.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, it is a show that has like a surprisingly solid anti-war message throughout, because I mean, fuck war, it's awful, it's horrible. But it's heartwarming, it's all about found family, and it's funny, it's cute. Anya is just the most adorable little thing. So adorable that occasionally you just want to like punch her across the room, but at the same time, Yor is like a surprisingly great mother for, being a assassin who really likes looking at sharp things. And Lloyd constantly is telling himself that he's doing everything for the sake of the mission, but you can see that his hard spy shell is cracking the more times he spends with his supposed fake family.
Yep, fair.
And to summarize, Rem, yes, there was a wild spectacle game that happened in episode 5. That about 80% of it was anime original. It did happen in the manga, but it was a much more subdued affair. for that 5th episode, they made it a full, fun, animated spectacle where Anya wanted a reward for successfully getting into the school. And that reward was Lloyd using the spy budget to rent out a castle, hire a bunch of agents, and let Anya be a damsel in distress while Lloyd dresses up as her favorite TV super spy, Bond Man, and goes to rescue her.
So I think what I'm getting here is something like that. Or alternatively, I'm sending 2 images. Is it more like the first one or more like the second?
The fact that you found these images without having accounts for either of these things is very funny. I think you have a Facebook account, but God knows you've never used it in like the past 5 years.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
I mean, it's the same for me too, but also the fact that both of these things exist and were readily available are really funny. But the fact that the first one is...
So for our listeners, I've sent first an image of Jesse, James, and Meowth in Spy Family garb, and then I've sent an image of the Spy Family in Team Rocket garb.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, both versions, exceedingly common from a very quick Google search. Amazingly, this is one of the least original ideas I have ever had. People are all over this idea. You know, I thought it was a fun, silly, stupid connection. No, people are in on this idea.
And honestly, the first one you sent me is by one of my favorite favorite artists that I follow on the social medias, Kiana. I can't remember her last name off the top of my head, but her handle is Kiana Mai, and they are a fantastic artist, and they make a lot of fan art of Jesse, and James and such, including a very good little comic about Jesse getting together with Ash's mom.
Oh, you've told me about that. Hey, well, shout out to them.
Yeah, so love that. That's pretty fantastic. The point being, Rem, this show is wonderful. I love it a lot. You'll have your criticisms, as you always do, but I think you'll be able to look past them to understand why this is such a beloved show and treat it as a nice little break from
it's better than
the
what
chaos.
I thought was going to happen, so I'll take.
Well, I mean, yeah, I had to fool you a little bit.
You son of a bitch.
Because I thought that would be hilarious, and I was correct. So with that, without further ado, I think we should just get straight into it. Let's go watch the next 7 episodes of the hit 2022 anime Spy Family. And we are back after watching episodes 6 through 12 of the hit anime Spy Family. And Remington, did you enjoy the family antics, the completely surprising fact that Anya is a psychic, and the penguins that capped it all off?
Once again, it wasn't surprising that she was a psychic. I knew it, I just couldn't remember if I was supposed to know.
You're not getting out of this one, man. That is the most insane thing for you to not realize.
I don't think it is, because I don't remember. I don't remember much about the show, right? And so I couldn't remember anything I had seen where it was relevant, because there was just not a lot of memory there. It was in my brain. It was in there. I just couldn't tie it to anything.
Well, your questionable memory aside, lad, what'd you think of these 6 episodes?
First of all, 7.
Oh,
all
7.
Right?
Yeah, sorry.
Learn to count, you son of a bitch.
Look, man, 6, 7, what's the difference?
But here's a very straightforward take. I think it is a good, enjoyable show. Perhaps a bit overrated and perhaps a bit shallow considering its reputation. And I also think it's a little bit crazy to have an incest Nazi. So those are just like some broad strokes.
Okay, alright, it's not that he's into incest, he just really loves his sister a lot. That's all.
Romantically, specifically.
No. They never explicitly.
No, they do. They do. They didn't, in the first episode they introduced him. In the very next episode, they did confirm and firmly establish, hey, it is romantic. Just in case you felt there was any plausible deniability, there is not. Like, we'll get there. They establish there is no plausible deniability.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much initially, but he's an incest Nazi, all right? And if Shaun wants to defend the incest Nazi, that's fine. Also a weird move, but that's fine.
Okay, look, just because he works for the secret police of a corrupt government, definitely not modeled after a certain era of Germany, doesn't mean anything, really. If you think about
Well,
it.
and first time he is shown prominently, it is torturing somebody. So
Yeah, yeah, it's not the best look. Kind of a dark theme, if you might say.
but hey, we'll get to the incest Nazi, all right? So let's start up with episode 6, where we were doing some more exposition about the school, and they're basically Anya needs 8 Stella stars, but can't get 8 bolts because those are bad. It's a genuinely strange gamification of this school, where it's like a lot of the spy stuff generally is sort of problem solving, figuring stuff out, but in this case it's just we need to get 8 good things before getting 8 bad things, and they like tally them up whenever one occurs. And it's like I don't hate it. I just find it odd, and like it doesn't super fit.
Oh, are you trying to tell me that an eccentric rich person school wouldn't have a completely stupid way of recording benefits and demerits? You think that rich people are supposed to be the most wonderful and normal people? That's an interesting take, Remington. That's an interesting take.
All right, listen here, son of a bitch. I think it's a strange narrative device. That is the layer I'm critiquing it upon. I don't know how strictly necessary it is. It seems I guess it's just a way to oversimplify things in a way that kind of feels like it's treating the audience with kid gloves. I feel like it's looking at the audience and being like, hey, you stupid fuckers, you can't tell when things are going well, so let's really break it down for you.
I see it more as giving like clear goals after all, because this is still a shonen series, so clear goals are helpful, and especially to help it be understood from Anya's perspective as well. Because like just doing good in school by itself is one thing, but also having little goals for her to work for directly, and you'll see as the show goes on, there are plenty of like kid-based rumors about what can get you a star and whatnot, and what people give for bolts and things like that, and it just adds a little extra kerfuffle to make more potential stories and plot lines happen. I don't think it's that bad. It's silly, yes, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
Well, I don't think it's terrible. Once again, I don't know if it fully fits with the rest of everything. Which can largely be said. I think that now, having seen a full season, I could say it's finding its footing for most of this season. And in some elements, like it knows what it wants to be, right? Like visually, for example, I think it knows what it wants to be, and has a strong visual identity very quickly that is strong throughout. A lot of the other elements of it take a little bit of time and are less consistent. And we'll be able to touch on exactly which elements those are. So in this, it's just getting Anya ready, right? She meets some people. There's a student who's the target named Damien, and one possible avenue, like she needs to make friends with Damien, but he's a dick and he bullies her, and then she ends up punching him and gets in a little bit of trouble. Episode 7, Lloyd is influencing Anya to apologize to Damien because it's very important that they're friends, and eventually she does. Damien falls in love but doesn't want to grapple with those emotions, so instead rejects her apology and runs away. And then Anya is stressed with homework. And that's episode 7. Not super notable. Some of these episodes are vaguely enjoyable, but also kind of whatever. There's one like amazing episode that we'll touch on. We'll see.
Is it the penguin episode, Ram?
Amazingly, it's not.
Really? Oh.
It is not the penguin episode.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I think the penguin episode is the second best episode probably of the... Well, but then penguin episode's weird. Penguin episode's a little bit strange too. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'll explain why it feels weird once we get to it.
All right, cool. So, episode 8, this is where we meet Yor's brother, who is the incest Nazi. He learns that Yor is married and hasn't told him, and she's been married for a year, and he's like, what the hell? What's going on? And he has to keep the fact that he's a Nazi from her. And so he shows up and meets Lloyd and is jealous, and there's some weird confrontations, and the brother is like, well, prove to me that you're in a relationship by kissing. And he's just, I don't know, he's just a lazy siscon trope. It doesn't work. And a lot of this episode doesn't work, unfortunately, because unfortunately, one thing this show does in at least the first season, hey, fuckers, first season, all right? I've actually seen a decent amount, all right? First season, that is a significant chunk, so you shall not invalidate my opinions. They do your dirty kind of throughout the whole thing. She has really good moments, but it's all the same moment. And then she also has really bad moments, because it's just like, oh yeah, she's submissive and behaves like a preteen when it comes to romance, I guess. Did we need that? Are these things we need? Like, so that element being foregrounded combined with her brother being an ultimate siscon trope, really crater episode 8. It's just, there's some almost interesting stuff that could exist between like trying to hide their identity from the brother, but I don't think it's particularly great. It also doesn't work because like this episode opens up with a guy being tortured for information, and it's played somewhat straight, and that does not fit with the vibes with the show at all. The show works when it's like dabbling into dark comedy a little bit, but in a very silly way, right? But when it like announces like, hey, look at this over the top awful thing, but in a lighthearted, crazily silly, understated way, that works. But when you're then like, hey, but isn't this really fucked though? Oh man, I'm like, well, yeah, it's really fucked, but why are you? Isn't this show all about like creating a sort of dissonance with that fact?
Oh yeah, it is most of the time, but sometimes you just need that hard dose of reality to remember that there is a horrific secret police in this country. That is...
Not only do I think you don't need that, I don't think the show wants that. The vast majority of time, the show is like, yeah, that's pretty antithetical to the vibes we're going for, so they avoid it at all costs, but just here, they're like, yeah, this is super fucked, isn't it? Crazy. Anyway, and it just, it doesn't work. It does not work. Maybe it could work. Does not work here.
I don't know. I enjoy it. I enjoy getting hit with dark doses of reality and then immediately followed up with my lovely, silly little anime. Makes me happy.
Maybe if it was well done, I'd agree. And once again, it has plenty of moments where it leans into more dark comedy that I think do work. But those moments work for the exact same reason this one doesn't. Those moments are like, hey, this super fucked thing, isn't that crazy anyway? And see, that can be fun. That can have a good time. But then when you're like, oh, this crazy fucked thing, whoa! and then you immediately transition into, and then there's this crazy fucked thing. Isn't that insanely fucked? Man, pretty tense, isn't it? I'm like, oh, are we not having fun about this stuff? And now the stuff that's supposed to be fun risks being less fun because, now that you're having me consider it, that's also super, oh man, maybe I shouldn't be laughing at all, which once again, you could have in a show, if they want to do that, they could make you laugh at something super fucked and then make you feel guilty for laughing at something super fucked. Shows get away with that and they can do it well. But this show isn't interested in getting you to sort of interrogate those qualities about yourself. That's not what this show is about.
I mean, it definitely is later on, I'll tell you that much.
Thus far, it definitely isn't. Thus far, the show is like, no,
not in the first season.
Love and support your. Your is great. Sympathize with your. Don't ever really think about the assassin stuff. They're like, assassin. That's just code for being really talented physically. First season doesn't give much of a shit about your. All right, that's just the fact. The first season of this show, is fine and like has so much potential, but is not just like 3 of 3 on the family of ranking of importance and relevance and depth and character. But if you include side characters, starts rapidly declining. Like let me put it this way, Shaun. Yor has less character depth, and this is crazy to say, than Damien's 2 henchmen, his 2 little weasel friends. And that's crazy. Why'd they do Yor dirty like that? And I guess maybe they're just like, for the weebs, all you need is strong, deadly, demure mommy. Maybe that's all you need for them, and then full stop, they'll go to the ends of the earth for it, regardless. But like there needs to be a little bit more for one of the main characters.
I just need to say one thing. Technically, this is only the first core of season 1, but the separation in it is basically a full season regardless. So for the people who are going to say you didn't watch the whole season, he basically watched the whole season.
Wait, it's 12 episodes, all right? It's 12 whole episodes. That's a substantial amount.
Yeah, but the first season is technically 25, if you can.
Jesus Christ.
Yep, and I will say, most of the best Your stuff are in the back half and in the second season. Like, I would say the majority of the second season is dedicated primarily to Your, so...
That doesn't prevent the fact that Your's been done dirty in these 12 episodes. Where definitely, at times, the show just kind of forgets about her. And anytime it remembers her, it's for her to do one of her 2 jokes. So, yeah, episode 8, absolute trash. Episode 9 sort of continues off of that a little bit, right? They resolve that. And it's Lloyd being a little bit suspicious of Yor and a little bit more stuff with the brother. Nothing too interesting here. A little better than episode 8, but still not great. Look, unfortunately, the incest Nazi, it isn't as even interesting as you'd think with that label, right? You'd be like, oh fuck, that's got to be a wild and fascinating character. Not really. Not really, unfortunately. It's the incest Nazi, very cliche. Very by the book, this incest Nazi.
I didn't realize you were an expert on incest Nazis, Rem.
Hey, I do have a history degree, so it's coming in handy. So then we get to episode 10, and episode 10. This, Shaun, is the best episode so far. This is the best episode of the first 12. Asterisk. If I'm being honest, I can't remember the first 5, so I'm going to just stick with this claim.
Didn't even bother pulling up your old notes on, did you?
No.
Oh, I see.
If there was I'm going with if there was an episode as good or better than this one, I feel like I would have remembered, which probably isn't correct. But episode 10, it's the best episode. It opens up, right? Anya needs to prep for dodgeball because there are rumors that the MVP gets a Stella star. And so she starts training with Yor, who can do some crazy shit and is trying to get Anya into peak physical condition. And then we get to the dodgeball game. Anya, of course, you got Damien, his henchman, Anya's friend, who is fun, not super important for any of like the events that happen, but a fun character to have around. And then on the other team, all that matters is that they have a full ass adult.
No. He's the same age as the rest of them, Rem.
He got Bazooka Bill Watkins. Who's a full-ass adult, and he's a calculated monster, and there's a great flashback of like him trying to get ready, and like his dad shows up and he's like, Papa.
No, he is the same age as all of them. The only one that isn't the same age as Anya because she's technically a year younger than everybody. He is the perfectly average 7-year-old,
So first of all, Bazooka Bill Watkins, everything about him, from his backstory to his mannerisms to just it panning over and showing him, possibly the funniest thing the show's done thus far. It's really good. Then we get some genuinely fun stuff with Damien and his henchmen, where they do a little bit of silly teamwork, largely inspired by other shonen, especially like Dragon Ball. And it doesn't quite work, but it's fun to see. And then his henchmen take a bullet for him by getting fucking murdered by the dodgeball. Damien actually saves Anya and makes a kind of excuse that like, oh, he was just trying to catch the ball. He wasn't really trying to protect her. And they do it in a manner where that's like almost believable, but obviously we know.
Mm-hmm.
And Anya's able to dodge because of her psychic powers. Then Anya gets ready for a killer shot, fucks it, and gets eliminated.
Yep.
And it's just solid. It has lots of different character dynamics. It has some really fun jokes. because of just the fact that a cell star is up for grabs, I guess it's relevant to the bigger plot, so why not? This is the best episode. This is the best episode, Shaun.
Except that, of course, one wasn't at the end. That was... all the kids made that up, essentially. It was one of the kids' rumors. They were like, oh yeah, we'll totally get a star for this.
Well, and we basically, it's kind of just implied that the teachers can give out stars and bolts whenever they want.
Oh yeah.
Because Bill gets a bolt for yelling die, and he's like, oh fuck. But all the kids love Bazooka Bill, and I love Bazooka Bill. He's great.
Mm-hmm. That completely normal child.
That completely, yeah. And the teacher considers giving, like, oh, maybe Anya or Damien, they could maybe deserve a star for finally getting along. And then they're at each other's throats, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
So it's basically just like if a teacher feels like, all right, it's Hogwarts rules. That's how it goes.
I mean, let's be honest. What is Hogwarts if not a rich person's school?
So then we get to episode 11, where Anya is bad at everything, and so they try community service, which could be a way to get the stars. She's bad at everything there too. I will say, Anya being bad at everything totally works. Has lots of fun stuff. That is also just most of yours character. It's like, I'm bad at everything except my one thing. And so now you have Anya who's bad at everything except her one thing. And like, come on, dog, you gotta do a little bit more. You gotta First of all, you can't have the two most important women be given a single skill and be terrible at everything else, all right? I don't think that is the vibes. I don't think that's what you want to go for. But second of all, it just makes them a little less interesting. And I feel like there's better ways to go about it, but they're kind of like, incompetence is funny, so let's just keep doing that. But then that has an effect on the character. And they're able to have other funnier moments. Just give us more Bazooka Bill. That's what it summarizes.
I mean, I can confirm that there is more Bazooka Bill in the future.
Awesome.
Not as much as you would like, I'm sure, but there definitely is more.
Hey, if they can also provide other characters to the caliber of Bazooka Bill, all right? They've shown they can do it, so they just need to reach those heights again. Anya uses her psychic powers to hear that a boy is drowning, goes to save him, doesn't really save him. Lloyd ends up saving them. But she gets a Stella for it. She gets a bit of an ego out of it. She decides she wants a cute puppy because Damien has a puppy, and maybe that's a way for her to become friends with Damien and get world peace, because that's how she thinks of Lloyd's plan, right?
Yep.
So she's like, hey, Lloyd, I want a dog. They're like, we can do that. And so then they look. It's like, all right, let's work on adopting a dog. And they have this weird cliffhanger with a mysterious dog. And it feels like that should have genuinely been the end of episode 12 instead of episode 11, because it's kind of a cliffhanger, kind of implies what'll happen next. And episode 12, we don't do anything more with the dog. Forget about the dog. Don't worry about it. It very much feels oddly ordered episode 11 and 12.
Well, I mean, I can tell you why that is, Rem, since we're there.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, episode 12 is, if you couldn't tell, it's a bonus chapter. A very popular bonus chapter of the original manga, so it's technically canon to the manga events. It's just, was quite literally a in-between chapter for the time while the author was prepping more stuff, essentially. And because this one season was divided into 2 cores, they put that in there as kind of a placeholder because they wanted to adapt episode 12, and that was kind of, the place for it. Could they have put it at episode 11 and have that be better? Probably. But also, I think they wanted to end the core on, less of a cliffhanger note so that people wouldn't be as antsy for, the next, 5 months it took to get the second part of the season.
Well, there is still a cliffhanger. It's just one that instead of being here's a cliffhanger, what'll happen, you're here's a cliffhanger, don't worry about that anyway, which is a worse way to handle cliffhangers.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's ultimately a semi-filler episode that got put there as kind of a placeholder, but everybody really loves episode 12, so that's not an issue for most people.
I think it's a fairly enjoyable episode. It's just weird to have it be episode 12.
Yeah.
I just think the order is wrong and strange and sort of like fucks with the rhythm of what we've had going on.
And I could be mistaken, but I do think that is how it happened in the manga too, if I'm not mistaken.
It's crazy. We open up episode 12 with Lloyd committing some violent terrorism, which once again, that most of what we've seen with like Lloyd is him doing espionage, right? In this, he opens episode 12 by committing violent terrorism. All right. And this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, if we have a sort of comedic disconnect, that's fine. If we want to take these things seriously, well, then we may begin to struggle. The show doesn't want us to take it very seriously. So when it sometimes does, that it blurs into the rest of it. You see what I'm saying, Shaun? You see what I'm saying? How, like, when all of a sudden it's like, hey, maybe we should reckon with these serious fucked things, that when the protagonist commits violent terrorism, that suddenly, like, that may make the show a little less jovial?
It's fine. What's a little terrorism between friends? I grew up playing Final Fantasy VII, you know? I'm used to it.
You heard it here, folks. Shaun finds terrorism funny in all cases.
Oh, God. No, nothing quite like that. And I have just confirmed that, hilariously, the penguin chapter happens way earlier in the manga than it does in the anime. So that's entirely an anime studio decision right there.
It's even weirder because after the terrorism bit, and sort of like with it, we get a full recap of the premise of the show.
Like I said,
in case you jumped in for just the last episode of the season, let me tell you the basics of the show. Let me tell you, all right, so we got a telepath, an assassin, and a spy's got to do this. Why have this be episode 12? I'm just saying, there's some level of incompetence here.
So that people don't forget that it's technically one season and there's a second core coming. That's the only excuse I can give you, man.
But they're not even expressing that here, right? It's not it's not like that's a main thrust. If anything, to emphasize there's more coming, you would end with episode 11 with the cliffhanger, because cliffhangers imply that there's more coming. This is just a very strange, bad storytelling decision. I'm not going to be like, oh, it tanks everything, but I'm just going to be saying that, taken on its own terms, this shouldn't be here. And I think that it fucks a bit with the rhythm of the whole season. And then really, I think, makes this episode feel worse because it's placed last, right? Which it's just going to be human psychology with how media works. We're going to place a greater importance on this naturally. That's just how it's always going to go. And so if this is just another episode, or even like a little bit less than that, kind of just like a silly fun episode, which it's a fine episode. It's a fine episode. It being the last episode makes it a worse episode, though, because of how we consume media.
I mean, it doesn't help that this is technically chapter 8.5, and at the point in the story we're at like chapter, like, I want to say 19, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I just think this would be a stronger episode, and it would contribute to the season in a better way if it wasn't the last one. It does this season, and it does this episode a disservice. The episode is them going to an aquarium, and Lloyd has a bunch of different missions. He's kind of burnt out, which isn't... They bring it up, and then it's never, like, super relevant, other than Lloyd occasionally being like, man, I am burnt out. But they have some cute penguin stuff. We get a confrontation with like a fake professor who's trying to get a message. He's like also a spy. Message from a penguin. Lloyd stops him. Anya and Yor step in. And neighbors are convinced. What a happy family. And we get a nice, silly sort of epilogue, I would say, of the episode that perhaps lasts a bit too long. And that's the end of the season.
Well,
Asterisk.
Yeah, because and look on the bright side, Rem. Most people who are watching this for the first time won't even know there's a season split because like it's not listed anywhere. Like this is only a thing that you would know if you were actively watching it at the time it was airing, like a certain somebody was. And yeah, and if people really wanted to skip Penguin Park, they definitely could. They definitely
No,
could, but they shouldn't.
But you understand? Yeah, but it's not that, like, I'm saying, oh, you should skip the episode. And also, the episode shouldn't be there. Like, I shouldn't have to curate the show to make it more watchable. If that's part of it, if you're like, hey, if you curate the show, then it's a better show. Okay, why did they put it in that order then?
Again, I don't know, man. I don't know how studios think. The only thing I can explain is that they wanted the episode, and that seemed like the best place to put it, considering...
It wasn't.
I'm not saying it was, Rem. I'm saying that just apparently is where they thought it would be best to put, because if you... I was about to say if you remember. You clearly do not. What they could have done, honestly, that would have been better, would have been to put it right after episode 5, because they had already added so much to episode 5 in general. Episode 5 was the crazy super Disneyland spy movie action thing. They could have added it right there, and it would have probably flowed a little bit more naturally. But the only reason I can think they would do that, which is unfortunate because that's about where it would have been in the manga itself, hilariously, is probably because they wanted to get back into the direct action of the story, and then they're like, crap, where do we put this episode now? Because we got to put it before a certain thing happens involving the stuffed penguin, but there's not much time. Not much time.
I do think that this show, while it has a lot of talent put into it, it often feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be, right? And we can see that in these 12 episodes, in that, like, Yor has largely been sidelined, other than being powerful, but incompetent, and acts like a preteen romantically, which it's already a trope I hate in anime. Let's not make adult women act like this, please.
She also has several scenes of her being a decent mother, or trying to be a decent mother.
And I would love to... I actually thought, because, like, it's episode... let's see here... episode, like, 8 or 9 touches on this briefly, of Yor being interested. But one, it's like the C plot of that episode. And two, it's not super relevant. It's not even really a plot in the episode. It's a line of dialogue in the episode. And that it's like, it's interesting for Yor to like be invested in, like, hey, I want to be a good mom and things like that, right? That can be compelling. Just thus far in 12 episodes, it's shown only a passing interest in that. Which is unfortunate. And you have the show seems unsure and uncomfortable with to what degree does it want to display and care about the like high politics and the sort of intensity and high stakes of the situation, right? How much does it want to grapple with the stakes that are in play here? And then if it wants to grapple with them, how does it want to depict them? And it seems like we had many different strategies, some that have worked better than others. This first 12 episodes, it largely feels like a trial run, right? Where it has not been figured out yet. Some things work better than others. Some things are locked in quicker than others. And still at the end of episode 12, there are certain things, important elements of the show, I would argue, that are largely up in the air, and the show still hasn't figured out how these important things should be represented, or what roles they should play, or what it even wants to do with them. So this is a good show, all right? This is a good show. It's very competent. Lots of care has been put into it. I like the attention to details in a lot of cases. There's a lot of creativity demonstrated repeatedly throughout. All of the characters have so much charm behind them, and it's a fun, silly show. But it does feel a bit shallow and a bit inconsistent at times. They will likely improve on that. I'd be amazed if they didn't. It will likely get better, more consistent, and have greater depth. But in a lot of ways, it should have done that in the first 12 episodes.
I mean, I will say this. It's probably my favorite bi-weekly manga at the moment. I love it. I get excited every time a new chapter comes out. I'm excited for the 3rd season, which I think is airing at the end of this year, if I'm not mistaken. And And like all of your complaints, I think, do get addressed and get improved on throughout. Except for Yuri. Yuri is kind of a Yuri. He's a problem. He's a problem. But there are some scenes in the manga where there is tension. There is like worry.
Oh, and I didn't bring it up. I sort of skimmed over it because I don't like talking about Yuri, the incest Nazi. In episode 8, it's just like he's a strong cis-con and it like feels romantic, but it's never outright stated. In episode 9, we do get a flashback that he fell in love with his sister when she gave him a kiss on the cheek as a reward, and he was like, "One day I'm gonna marry you." And so it is established as firmly romantic. There is no plausible deniability. There wasn't much in episode 8, and episode 9 stamps the little bit that exists.
I mean, I will say that is not an uncommon like childhood crush type of thing that happens.
No, but if you continue that into an adult, if there's like if you can draw a straight line where it only gets more intense and the feelings themselves don't change, right? Then if Yuri was just a little kid, right? That'd be fine. If it was like a little kid, it'd be weird if they put as much emphasis on it, but it'd be fine if it existed that way. But that was just how it started, and it's continued and gotten stronger. So
look, let's just say that I'm hoping for the more conflicting chapters, and when everything eventually comes to light, I'm just curious to see what'll happen in the end. That's what I'm waiting for. No, I'm not. Look, Yuri is nobody's favorite character, Rem. Like that's just the way it is. He's a good outlet for the occasional gag. Like there are some very amusing interactions with him and Anya in the future. But that's about it. And it's great watching him get the shit kicked out of him because it happens a lot. Because look,
he's the grape cunt of this show. Where he actively detracts from it, and people could be like, well, he has a role to play, and I'm like, yes, but that role could have been played better and more interestingly, and not with the incest Nazi, who I think actively detracts, and also is so, I cannot emphasize, so lazily written. Possibly the most lazily written character of the whole fucking show. It's not just that, like, a freaky incest Nazi, right? But it's a lazy and cliche incest Nazi.
Again, not technically a Nazi. I mean, if we want to be technical about it, right?
Right, Bill Rollins back at it again.
Okay, listen.
Trying to figure out the technical definition of Nazi. I get it.
If anything, you shouldn't be getting it, Rem. If anything, that puts a bad light on you, too.
Good old Shaun being like, look, is it technically a Nazi? Is it technically incest? I don't know.
Look, man, he just hasn't noticed the little skulls on his hat to be like, oh, am I the baddie? Is that it? He hasn't had that clarifying moment yet. Oh God, and I will say, Rem, people are going to be disappointed. I only showed you up to episode 12.
That's crazy.
Well, because they want you to know the fourth member of the family. That's what they.
Well, it's the dog.
Yeah,
it's the dog.
Yeah,
right.
Obviously.
And let's see. All right, so it was a fluffy dog.
Yep.
And now I have to figure out whether like what it did was like whether the thing they did when showing the dog was like what the dog is about, or if that was just a thing. I think the dog, given the vibes, right? I think he's going to be we have an assassin, a spy, and a psychic. So now in this way we're going to get like a science experiment, right?
Okay.
And that's going to, do they just make it a talking dog? Is that all they do? Because it could just be, here's the talking dog.
Well, you think a talking dog would fit in the show, Rem? I don't know. That seems a bit far-fetched.
I feel like it would be somewhat disappointing if that's like all it is, but that could be what it is. I will say, well, especially it shouldn't be a talking dog because Anya can read animal thoughts. She read the penguin's thoughts and they were words. So she'll be able to read the dog's thoughts, and Anya will already be able to communicate with the dog, regardless of what the dog can do. So if the dog just also talks, then I think that's a missed opportunity because Anya should just be able to talk to the dog.
So do you think talking is going to be his official gimmick?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
But do you think that?
Let's get weirder. Let's get weirder. And give more faith into the creators. I think this is going to be a go-go gadget dog.
Full cyborg. You think this dog is full cyborged out?
I think this dog will be an omni tool of sorts.
A Swiss Army dog?
If it's just a talking dog, it could still be fun, don't get me wrong, but I will be a little bit disappointed. Give me a Swiss Army dog.
Swiss Army dog.
A big, fluffy Swiss Army dog. Maybe make it so Anya is even like, because she can talk to the dog, is the only one who fully understands what the dog's deal is.
Oh, God. I don't know whether I should confirm anything for you or... Okay, here's the one thing I will tell you. We do get in episode 11, we do get a hint of what the dog's deal is.
Okay, all right. So in that way, I think... Oh, God, then is it just... Because unless it was just like said briefly in the dialogue, which I can't remember. It was like some mental imagery or shit like that. So we already have a telepath, so it shouldn't be that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that he's like linking with them and seeing images of that. So the only alternative in my mind that it could be, I guess, is he like seeing the future? Is that it? He can see the future. I don't know. That's the only other thing I can think of that would create images.
You think the dog can see the future?
But I would prefer Swiss Army dog.
You'd prefer Swiss Army dog?
It adds more flavor, because if it's just dog that can see in the future, it's kind of stepping on Anya's toes, not in like the exact power, but in like the flavor of the power, right? Both of them are under the psychic umbrella, and they're pretty close to each other. So even though they are different things, they don't have different vibes. And I want it to have a different vibe.
Well, I mean, Yor and Lloyd are under like the espionage umbrella.
But at least they're at the opposite ends of the espionage umbrella, right? One kills people, and Lloyd, other than, in episode 12, where he does kill a lot of people when he enacts terrorism.
They were criminals, it's fine.
I don't know if that's how that works. And I also don't know, like, look, something you gotta face if you're a spy for a country. You're going to be doing things where you harm innocent people in the name of your country's interests. That's how that's gonna go. Where you're like, it's unfortunate, but it's for the greater good. Which, once again, we don't need to grapple with unless the show starts making us grapple with it. And then suddenly it becomes... So, look, the moment it starts being like, wow, Lloyd, it's kind of actually super fucked everything you've done. Then, like, all of season 1, you're like, oh, this is much less enjoyable in hindsight. This is actually, oh yeah, look at them playing that for laughs, and it's actually a horrible atrocity. Like, that's a rabbit hole they cannot afford to go down, Shaun.
I don't know, I think it's kind of fun.
See, and I think a Swiss Army dog would be fun, so...
Oh, God. Well, we'll just have to see. People have wanted us to revisit this one since we did our initial episode, for a lot of reasons. Like, especially when it came out that we were big Penguin fans here. People were like, well, you gotta get him to the Penguin episode at least. You gotta.
So, I mean, that brings up a good point. Shaun, when are you going to get me a giant fluffy penguin plush?
You already have a giant fluffy penguin plush.
Yeah, but what about a squishy one? And first of all, it wasn't from you. So... Also,
correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't you, like, scolded your girlfriend for bringing home more plushes?
Well, yeah, but this is different.
No, fucking double standards here.
Look, no, you're not. All right. Now I need to defend myself because this is on a public platform.
Yeah,
all right?
Oh yeah,
look,
absolutely.
Look, anytime she goes to the thrift store, she will be tempted by numerous plush, and we have so much plush. And she'll keep getting them, but she'll never get rid of any of them. So we hardly have the space. I enjoy some cute plush, but I don't get nearly as many, all right? So it's like, hey, all right, you're criticizing Taylor Swift for how much she's using her private flight, but now you want to book a commercial flight to go on a vacation? And it's like, yeah, yes, I do. And I don't think I should... I don't think that is a tremendous hypocrisy. Even if I acknowledge I'm contributing to the problem in a very minor way, I'm still able to call out a much more significant contributor to the problem. And that's a-okay, all right?
I think all that you've done just now is make sure that the Taylor Swift fans are going to come and kill us. I think that's...
I don't know. I guess... How many of you guys are Swifties?
You'd be surprised.
Sound out, all right?
You'd be surprised at the overlap. It's a very
Well,
interesting overlap.
I think there's an overlap just due to the size of Swifties, but I would argue that I would expect us to have proportionally less Swifties than the general population, right? I think there would be fewer. I think just by sheer number, there will be some. But yeah.
I can't wait to get that statistical breakdown. They should really add that to like the YouTube analytics or something.
Well, I mean, on Spotify, it'll tell us like who the people who listen to our podcast, like what artists they're listening to. Let's see what the most recent update on that is, shall we?
Sure.
Oh, does it no longer list it, or is it in a different spot? They changed how it looks.
I see.
Unfortunately, Spotify has removed not only that feature, but many other analytics features from the dashboards of podcasts that do not use Spotify to host their podcast. Since we use a different hosting platform, Spotify has effectively gimped our analytics. Gotta love it.
I can't find it anymore, but from what I remember it used to be, it was our listeners tend to listen to rap, hip hop, and anime music, which
that seems unexpected.
half of that, yeah, the anime music is like the least surprising thing I could ever imagine. But the rap and hip hop, I did think that would come from our weeby ass audience.
Well, hey,
like Eminem was frequently in one of the higher spots, and it's like, all right, sure, folks, why not?
I guess it's all a matter of perspective. But hey, Rem, out of curiosity, any guesses on what the MAL score for Spy Family is the first season? And I'll even do you the benefit of saying just the first 12 episodes because it is separated on MAL.
Oh, see, it's separated on MAL. They get it.
Well, that's just because that's how it was aired, my guy. And
well, yeah, exactly. You can't like air half of a season at some point and then decide to air the next half like years later. Who knows? Maybe put the whole of season 2 between seasons season 1.1 and season 1.2. Why not? Since none of it means anything.
It was just a different core. It was all in the same year. They just had a couple months in between to prepare the last batch of episodes.
Oh, seems sussy. So, I'm going to guess that it is, it's gotta be super high, like insanely high. Unless there's been like backlash, this has to be like an all-timer, right? This has to be like people were obsessed with this. And are.
Yeah, it came out in spring of 2022, and it's getting a third season at the end of the year. And it is a pretty consistent bi-weekly manga with the occasional break week.
Yeah, so I'm gonna assume no major like controversy or anything like that. I'm gonna say like 9.08.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I think it's high. I think it's very high.
Well, Remington, with 1,000,066 ratings.
Oh my god.
You're not wrong. It is popular. It is one of the most popular, easily in the top 100 popular anime. But man, your sense of scale is a little off, I will have to say. Because with that 1 million, the first 12 episodes of season 1 of Spy Family is sitting nice and pretty at 8.46.
I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, like, by and large, the only people who are complaining about this show are the contrarians who have bad opinions.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, even if this isn't your favorite show, you'll be very hard-pressed to find people who say this is a bad show.
Yeah, I would say Spy Family, for me, how I see it, quality-wise, is that, like, it is a good show that just about everybody could enjoy. I think it needs... The first 12 episodes, I don't think it has, like, the special sauce yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least, maybe it has, like, brief pockets of special sauce, but it's not evenly distributed.
Yeah.
So they need to work a little bit on their recipe, but if they do that, I can see this.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do you a favor right here. I'm gonna give you a range for you right now because that 9 poll was crazy, and you're gonna find out why in just a second. On Malrem, there are only 12 anime with a 9.0 or higher.
Goddamn.
And the highest scoring anime currently is 9.30.
And so Spy Family Season 2 is not one of those that's insanely highly rated.
It's higher highly rated, but not in like the 9s, right? Like I would say it's comparable is how I would say it. Because like right now, the first 12 episodes of Spy Family is numbers wise ranked 164, and popularity wise, it's position number 60, which is insanely high.
It is.
And like people who watch this show are gonna like this show, and like it's just a matter of if it's the kind of show that you think you would enjoy a little bit, people watch it and people like it. Like I think if you factor in the people who are hating it just to hate it to seem cool, which by the way, guys, take it from somebody who talks to a guy who has very strong opinions that are contradictory to most things. Doing it just to seem cool is not the way to go.
Oh, I mean, I've railed against this plenty of times before. Dishonest haters are some of the most annoying fuckers around, all right?
Mm-hmm. He is honest about his opinions, and even if you think Rem is wrong, he is at least being honest about how he feels.
Let me ask you one final question, Shaun.
Sure thing.
Do I look at you the way Anya looks at Desmond? Just that, specifically, not the smug look, but with the same eyes and the exasperated look. Because I think that embodies me in part 1 of almost every episode.
And not like the smug Anya smile trying to smile naturally. Not that. You don't smile at me.
That's the April Fool's episodes.
Oh, I see.
And the only difference between those two looks is the smile. It's the same eyes either way. But it's the one without the smile that just looks exasperated. That's the one that I have at the beginning of every recording.
I mean, I definitely feel like you're looking at me that way.
Hey, good, it's coming across.
And one other final fun fact for you that I just love: Anya's VA is the same VA as Frieren.
Oh,
girl's
nice.
Got range.
She does well.
Yeah. Fantastic. Atsumi Tanezaki, I believe is how you say that. She's wonderful. But yeah, so I guess the final question I need to ask you, Rem, is there any chance you'd want to watch more Spy Family in the future?
Yeah.
Hey, folks, we did it. A positive revisit. It can happen.
One day, Shaun, I want to ask you a genuine question.
Yeah.
Do you think there will ever be a revisit where I change my mind for the better? Where it's like a show I didn't really like or vibe with, but then on a revisit that I'll like more? Because the opposite has happened a couple times. Lots of times I've kept my opinion the same. But thus far, we're a long ways into this podcast, and it's never happened where I've changed my mind substantially for the better.
Well, yeah, it's not substantially. I mean, it has happened where your opinion of a show has improved.
Well, yeah. Where I've been like, hey, it's coming to its own a bit, or things like that. But I'm talking about, like, I start out below a 5 out of 10. Like, I start out with negative feelings to some degree, and I end on a revisit with positive feelings to some degree.
I don't know. Anything is possible. I just don't know. Like, if I'm pulling from only the shows we've covered, I think it's. And this is going to be my extra call to action to our lovely audience. Send us a message or leave a comment of what anime you think would be a revisit that Remington would guaranteed. And I'm not just saying like what you want. I'm saying that you think guaranteed would be a marketable improvement, because I think it's a possibility. But we've covered so many anime that I'm having a hard time giving you like a percentage. Like
it would likely have to be something. Here's the criteria that you all should try to look at if you try to answer this question. First, the anime, it should be something that even though I ended up negative on, right? Maybe I was able to see the potential, or alternatively, maybe I was wildly incorrect about like what the show was. Or maybe you're like, from what he saw such trash from that show. Yeah, the first 5 episodes of the show are in fact the worst thing in the world. But then you can't just fall into the same trap being like, it gets better. No, it needs to like, there needs to be a substantial shift. You need to be like, the first 5 episodes, they're not just like worse than the rest. They are unrepresentative. Things like that. Those are like some hallmarks to try and look for. It's possible that things outside of those criteria could also still make it work, but already it's an uphill battle. Because once again, I'm an honest hater, and I tend to form my opinion, possibly for reasons you disagree with, but for reasons that I believe at least are well formed. So,
yeah, that is truly the challenge, because every time we've had you enjoy a show more on a revisit, Rem, which, contrary to belief, has happened multiple times.
It has.
It's usually a show that you already have positive feelings about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
And so I want to know if there are any shows that people think that would make not just a change in an upward direction, but a change in the kind of review I give, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just from good to great, but from some level of bad to some level of good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'd be curious to see it. But we have been running a little long, but hey, it's a revisit. That's how these things go. And plus, it's been a while since you and I have gotten in it over our heads with with a little bit of conflict here, you know?
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, because I love this show. It's one of my favorites. I adore it. And I think your complaints are stinky, but that's okay. Valid, but stinky.
Look, I get it, Shaun. You're like, hey, no, they shouldn't do more with your, and I think the incest Nazi is misunderstood. Those are strange opinions I have about this show. You know, maybe later it all makes sense. Maybe it turns out Yor's a terrible character who deserves less screen time and the incest Nazi deserves more. I'd be surprised if that were the case, but if that's the opinion you hold, let's close out the opinion so that everybody has that in mind.
Hey, Rem, do you want me to kill you? Just out of curiosity, like, I know where you live, and I live much closer. I will kill you.
Would it allow me to end the Sisyphean task of watching endless anime?
So you think if death can stop you, that's a laughable, my guy. I will follow you to hell and back, my man.
God damn it.
I am the deity that punishes you and will not allow you to escape until I deem it appropriate. But with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Remington enjoying a show on Revisit, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is still not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And I will say, I've been pretty good about doing 2 streams a week recently. I enjoy hanging out with folks, so if you just want to come by and say hi, please do. And if that is still not enough for you, patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
Well, as always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are our strong, stone-cold killers in one moment, and demure goddamn preteens the next. And in that list we have Yandere Neko, Wolfire 56, Why Does Everything Want Banana Shaun? Where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane, Shaun killing the Pope sensually with low punny. Week 10 of using my Patreon name to request code Yeast. Watching Requiem for Spoon at 0.5 speed. Variant, totally good. Titan CNH. The Susanator. The Yopai Wrangler, formerly known as Mommy Milkers. The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Zoro as my navigator. That time I reincarnated as podcast host and forced to weep. That has no place in Fairy Tale's 100 Girlfriends. Turban, Dandied Venom, Swaraj Verdi, Super Zoo, stole a nut from each of the Shonen Flop guys, thanks for distracting them. Stacy's mom, son of the motherless goat. Shaun wants to give Spoon Man a thank and yank. Shaun's vigorous soaking has killed the Pope. Shaun's heir apparent. Shaun the Pope has unfortunately passed away. Please stop trying to have him peg you. Necrophilia is wrong. Shaun ruined my happy sugar life when he got way too political after killing the Pope with his fantastic red pill scene.
I hate it here. I don't have any alcohol in the house. I am gonna cry.
We actually have a fully stocked liquor cabinet. Shaun is just upset that we don't have any sake or soju.
Shaun reminds me of half the trans girls I know. Shaun, quit soaking with my grandma, please! Shaun heard about the Pope and gooning in solidarity. Shaun, do your Duolingo or no Judy for you, goon by yourself. Serve him the shark plushie. Ryan Moody, Ross Palmer. Riding on the struggle bus, Rhiannon Williams. Remington is right. Rem used the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem say haiku about Shaun soaking in Judy. Rem is Red Pill Rollins' trad wife. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Red Venom, Professor Fox, Pro Tips Out of Context has run out of things post. We'll come back soon. PJ Turtle, BJSK Addict encourages Alien Stage for Pride Month, week 1 short form, so it only has a 40-minute watch time to make Rem happy. Pacwell Musico, never letting Rem forget about his vampire past. Miss Baggy Pant, Musico was summoned to another world to fight evil, but when they found out I was only a level 2, they sent me back. Macaroni Uchiha, Lucky Star is the king of Moe. Link Joe Girl, licking Shaun's bald spot with ketchup. God, what terrible terrible,
I think I'm
terrible image.
I think I'm gonna kill myself.
Oh, God. Oh.
I don't know if I want to live anymore.
Oh, God. Lenerd98, King Rich Rock, Katie, Cassidy, Jax, Jam Hands, Jake Dent. I'm making Rem say ethnic slurs until you bring back the Chef No Musco tier, Shaun, you white devil. I will never get more Ace of the Diamond, now I cry. I did jump hump for Rem and Shaun soaking. I can't believe I'm ending up for this. Horny and unfortunate MILF in your area. There's something about imagining that advertisement just like they are down on their luck, but they're horny. Oh, so that one gets me. Hide the Easter Bunny. Shaun's on the prowl. Ha 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 ha. Gordon Ramsay's Raw Sausage. Glenn Michael Dolan. George Edward Bottom, aka Bear Trap, brought to you by the Penguin Demon. Fern the Fern. Farmer Weep thinks with the Pope's passing, the grave-soaking Patreon members' recommendation for Shaun, time has finally come. Fantide, Erica McCorkle, Danielle Riot, Daddy Rum, tell me a bedtime story about Shaun's nut. Caldarius, Cheese Monkey, Butler Rat is doing pretty good on his Twitch. It's not called Butler Rat, almost at affiliate. Hey, good job. Rock hard for Geodudes. I forgot to change my name last week. Oops. Boring Siren. Blarf. Blackout Drunk Before Butt Stuff, says Miska. Bento Kato. Astral. Amazing Muffin. Aisha Gudgy. A Moe Piece of Trash. 12 Days Xmas Suggestion. 3. Pupa for 24 hours. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. Shaun, what are they going to get this week?
I figured just giving them a spy novel would be pretty neat.
Perfect. We start with Your Friendly Neighborhood Commie.
Now, don't be surprised. A lot of them happen to be James Bond novels. But not this one. They're going to get Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Umbrasite.
I should have finished reading that before the spy who came in from the cold.
I see. I understand.
Yeah.
Truckoon Operator number 42.
The Born Identity.
Tokyo Anon is a regulation listener that listens to 100% Eat because it's morning somewhere, Blue Satan.
The Day of the Jackal.
Tokyo Anon from Bandori, it's my go, loves when Harukage gets played because it annoys Soyo-san.
The Hunt for Red October.
Titaro, you stupid dumb fuck, why did you burn yourself out?
My Christ. Oh, wow, one I've actually read. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
I've not read it. I saw the movie adaptation, though. That Mouse Girl.
Eye of the Needle.
Starting That Fake Grind.
Smiley's People.
Spoonman the Aristocrat.
American Assassin.
Silent Secondary.
Patriot Games.
Scourge has Miska and an IRL girlfriend now.
Usually you can kind of get an idea of the vibe of a book based on the title. I have no idea what this one is supposed to be about. But Gorky Park.
Shaun, you're my little Gorky Park.
I don't know if you want to say that. It has a little red star on it.
7K is finally over her con crud and remembered to change her name.
Oh, God. Bless them. They get the Odessa file.
Roscop.
Our Man in Havana.
Rem treats Shaun like the Vaporeon he is.
I would argue this is not a spy book, but it's on the list, so the Da Vinci Code.
Power Cell begs Shaun to stop soaking in his low bunny. He still has a couple gym badges he needs to earn.
The Girl Who Played with Fire.
One Piece is the best anime, prove me wrong.
Man, that would not be hard to do, I'm afraid. And that's coming from a diehard One Piece fan. And let's go with The Kill Artist.
Monogatari is everything you ever said you want in an anime. This week the MC has one bad character trait, but he knows.
From Russia with Love.
Mike.
Born Ultimatum.
Miguel DeLeon.
Casino Royale.
I'd like to start a petition to replace the word brat with Kudere.
The Honorable Schoolboy.
It is now May, and Shaun is yet to show Rem Bang Dream It's My Go because he's afraid of Mortis claiming his soul.
The Quiet American.
I, Rem, demand you show me Bandori It's My Go, otherwise I play Harukage again and again and again and again and again.
A Perfect Spy.
I, Mitsumi, will have Mortis swallow Shaun's soul, never to return unless he shows Rem Bandori It's My Go.
No comment. Red Sparrow.
Hidden Otaku.
The Charm School.
D.
I Am Pilgrim.
Crimson Reapers just because of the sides.
Non-official asset.
Captain Beagleboy wants One Piece on episode 400.
You know what I'm starting to realize?
What?
Goodreads is not a very consistent listing site because some of these lists make no fucking sense. But whatever. Let's go with Without Remorse.
I think most of the lists are user created, so it's just whatever they feel like.
Which is very misleading.
Carver 271.
Berlin Game.
Beethoven 1201.
Goldfinger.
Allfather prepares to riot for Pride Month. He does not want a repeat of last year, Shaun.
Again, I did so many recommendations last year. Oh, God. The Dogs of War.
All right, now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun, as Joey Wheeler, will assign you a partner to go on a super secret spy mission with you, and I, as Joey Wheeler, will tell you what that super secret spy mission is. And it can be absolutely anybody, Shaun. Shaun, I learned to relax my tongue and widen my throat. Ooh woo.
And I'm supposed to give a partner to that?
Yeah, what partner, which could be literally anything, and I'll then say what mission they're gonna go on.
Okay, they are gonna be partnered with a kink therapist.
All right, and with this kink therapist, what you are gonna do?
Yeah.
You are going to go to a hostile embassy. All right, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna one day overnight deploy a giant fairground, all right? And they're gonna get outside and they're gonna be like, wow, what an amazing fairground this is. So many fun rides. They won't even think about it, right? But little did they know, as they're having fun on all the rides are all wired up until you get some juicy intel. It's real subtle, you see.
I'm nothing more subtle.
No one's gonna expect. Look, if you were a spy, you wouldn't create a whole fairground. That's crazy. It's a crazy thing for a spy to do.
I am distinctly reminded of a certain castle building scheme in Imperial Japan.
I'm unfamiliar, but hey, sounds like it works. Next up, we have inside Shaun and two wolves. One is a red-pilled conservative, and the other is a one-nut bunny soaker. Both are gay for each other. Hey, at least there's self-love, all right?
That's the most unrealistic thing about that. Man, oh man. You get to go on your secret mission with former U.S. President Barack Obama.
So what you and Obama, what your secret mission is to go 200 years into the future, right? And try all the fast food there, just see what it's like, and then report back. It's just kind of curious.
Just a casual mission.
Well, yeah, it's getting intel. It'll help us know what'll be like relevant moving forward. All right, it'll be invaluable for us. Trust me. Then last but not least. Oh, fuck. Oh, no, I genuinely just closed it. All right, there we go. Last but not least, we have follow Anime Out of Context on Blue Sky, supporting Code Geass, death to all 11s, Ubauk. And of course, if we check the Blue Sky, of course they're shouting our stuff out. They're selling the Patreon with this lovely quote: "Do you not value your time or your money? Well, I got a great way you can get rid of both, ladies and gentlemen. That is how I sold the Patreon." And I stand by it.
That is a quote from you, apparently.
I stand by it.
We love you guys. Do help keep us alive, by the way. So thank you for that.
What you don't you think that like spending all that time to put the money in a furnace, like first it's not even good for the environment. It's so labor intensive. There's easier ways to burn your money, ladies and gentlemen.
Give it to 3 schmucks on the internet.
Wait, what's their partner?
Their partner is gonna be Dylan Kreider.
All right, you and Dylan, your job is to go down into the big hole and see how big a hole is.
Unfortunately, it's infinitely big, and we'll have to cancel the podcast.
Yeah, we'll see. Podcast will resume when Dylan gets back from his trip with this patron down the big hole. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can email us at animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Incest Nazi.